Throughout the years, we've seen some of the best performances and players on the court, but only a few have made their marks in tennis history. Speaking of a few, for today's video, we'll be sharing with you the top 10 greatest female tennis Grand Slam winners of all time. So make sure you keep on watching if you want to know more about today's video. So let's take a look at these tennis legends. At 10th on the list, we have the Australian native Evonne Goolagong. Goolagong was the picture of elegance and beauty on the court, but she was frequently forgotten because she competed during the Chris Evert and Martina Navratilova era. Goolagong managed to win 7 Grand Slam championships while competing during one of the most competitive eras in women's tennis. She held the top spot in the world in 1976. Before World War I, she is the only mother to have won Wimbledon, and she did so in 1980 after giving birth to her daughter in 1977. The US Open, where she advanced to the finals 4 times in a row from 1973 to 1976, was the only Grand Slam competition that eluded her. Next, we have someone hailing from Liège, Belgium, Justine Henin on the 9th spot. One of the most athletic women to ever play the game, Justine Henin was renowned for her mental and physical fortitude. Despite her diminutive size, she had a strong punch, played a full game, and had a forehand shot that was both forceful and accurate. Henin, who is regarded as one of the top volleyers in the game, was equally at home at the net as she was from the baseline. She won both the US Open and the French Open in 2003, rising to the top of the world rankings. Henin earned her maiden Australian Open championship and the gold medal in the 2004 Olympics in Athens. She finished her career with 7 Grand Slam victories, but announced her early retirement in 2008 due to exhaustion from playing competitive tennis for more than 20 years. At the 8th spot, we have Venus Williams from Linwood, California. Venus Williams might have won a lot more Grand Slam championships if she hadn't had to face off against her sister Serena. Serena has defeated her sister 7 out of the 9 times the two have faced off in a Grand Slam final. Venus's career has been plagued by injuries, but there's no denying that in the early 2000s, she dominated the tour. Venus achieved 4 of her 7 Grand Slam championships between 2000 and 2001. She ultimately earned the top spot in the world in 2002, a position she would hold on 3 different occasions. Now on the 7th spot, we have one of the most iconic queens of the court, Billie Jean King, on today's list. Who can forget Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs' bizarre and outrageous war of the sexes in 1973? In addition to swiftly disposing of Mr. Riggs, King dominated women's tennis from the middle of the 1960s until the middle of the 1970s. Chris Evert, who arrived in 1972 to challenge King as the queen of women's tennis, had a majestic ground game in stark contrast to her hard-charging, aggressive style of play. However, King ruled Wimbledon from 1966 to 1975, winning the championship 6 times. Born on November 22nd, 1943, and turned pro in 1968, King retired with a whopping $1,966,487 of prize money and 129 career titles, which include 12 Grand Slam titles. She was inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame in 1987. Moving on to the 6th spot, we have the Yugoslavian Monica Seles, whose career changed after a manic fan's actions. Monica Seles would have won more Grand Slam titles if it weren't for the terrible on-court attack and stabbing by a crazy fan in 1993. Her spectacular clashes with Steffi Graf were legendary, and because of one fan's unhealthy infatuation, we, the spectators, were denied some fantastic matches. 2 years after the tragedy, Monica returned to tennis, but she was never the same. To her credit, she did go on to win 1 Grand Slam after the attack, the 1996 Australian Open. Monica played until 2003 before declaring her retirement in 2008. Monica Seles was without a doubt the most dominant player from 1990 to 1996 1992. She achieved 7 of her 9 Grand Slam victories during this period. She topped all female rankings around the globe in 1991. And now, we're at the upper half of today's list. Do you guys have an idea of who might be included in the top 5? Place your bets and keep on watching if you want to know who these ladies are. Coming into the 5th spot, we have the Florida-born Chris Evert. Chris Evert is arguably the most elegant player to ever step onto the court. She was a force from the baseline, and from the middle of the 1970s until the beginning of the 1980s, she dominated women's tennis with her two-handed backhand. With 34 Grand Slam singles final appearances, Evert still retains the record for most of them won, 18, including every major at least twice. Martina Navratilova's appearance in the late 1970s gave tennis fans a thrilling on-court battle. Evert has a lifetime winning percentage in singles matches of almost 90% and was the year-ending top player in the world for 7 consecutive years. Evert retired with a total of $8,895,195 cash prize money and 157 career titles, which include 18 Grand Slam singles titles, 2 Australian, 7 French, 3 Wimbledon, and 6 US Open. She was inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame later in 1995. At number 4, we have another Australian on the list, and it's none other than Margaret Court. Many analysts believe that Margaret Court is the greatest player to ever exist. It's difficult to argue with a Grand Slam singles record of 24 victories. Court now holds a record 62 major trophies in total, including her 19 doubles and 19 mixed doubles victories. She was one of only 2 women, the other being Daniela Hantuchova, to have won a Grand Slam in mixed doubles, which she achieved twice. She was also the first woman in the Open era to win the singles Grand Slam in 1970. Court, who was unquestionably the finest player in the 1960s through the beginning of the 1970s, was the first woman to include weightlifting and physical training in her regimen. The outcome was a lengthy and injury-free career. Court retired with 192 career titles under her name, which include 24 Grand Slam singles titles, 11 Australian, 5 French, 3 Wimbledon, and 5 US Open. She was inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame in 1979 and has a total of approximately $500,000 cash prize money. Now onto the top 3. At number 3, we have the pride of Prague, Martina Navratilova. Martina Navratilova, one of the most formidable opponents to ever take the court, dominated women's tennis from the late 1970s through a significant chunk of the 1980s. Martina, who is renowned for her intense physical preparation, revived the big serve and volley in women's tennis. She has won 59 Grand Slam titles in total, including singles, doubles, and mixed doubles, and holds the Open era record with 167 career victories. With an incredible 9 victories, Martina also holds the record for the most Wimbledon championships in a career. With 31 Grand Slam doubles titles and 10 Grand Slam mixed doubles trophies under her belt, she will go down in history as one of the best doubles players ever. Navratilova retired in 1994 with $21,626,089 in career prize money to her name. She has 167 career titles and was inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame in 2000. At the top 2 spot, we have none other than Steffi Graf. Graf was a picture of consistency throughout her 17-year career, winning on all playing surfaces. For any player, male or female, her 377 weeks spent atop the world rankings is a record. Graf accomplished the incredible accomplishment of winning all 4 major tournaments and the Olympic gold medal in the same year in 1988, making her the first player to complete what is known as the calendar year Golden Slam. Graf was the best from the late 1980s to the mid-1990s, and when she retired in 1999, she was still ranked 3rd in the world. The argument for Graf being the greatest of all time would be strong if Serena Williams' lengthy and illustrious career hadn't existed. While many may still argue over who is the best female tennis player of all time, Serena or Steffi, they were both outstanding players who advanced women's tennis during their respective eras. And finally, topping today's list is none other than Serena Williams. Serena Williams, one of the strongest greatest and most dominant players in tennis history, has unquestionably impacted the sport. Since the late 1990s, Serena and her sister Venus have been a strong force in women's tennis. They have collectively won 14 Grand Slam doubles championships. Serena now holds the Open-era record for Grand Slam singles titles by a tennis player, male or female, with 23 titles, including the 2017 Australian Open. Serena's skills have undoubtedly stood the test of time and opposition. Since 1999, she has won 18 Grand Slam tournaments. Her most recent triumph came at the 2017 Australian Open. Williams has now advanced to 4 Grand Slam finals without winning the coveted 24th championship. Serena was pregnant for the whole of 2017 and was unable to play professional tennis. Making it to the Wimbledon and US Open finals in 2018 and 2019 was undoubtedly a step in the right direction, and all signs point to Serena continuing to be competitive beyond turning 40 in 2021. And that wraps up today's video about the 10 greatest female Grand Slam winners of all time. Thanks for watching today's video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel with the notification bell on.